This video obviously has spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2, so if you have not finished the game, don't watch this. Watch it after. 7 years I have waited. I did not get spoiled even once, and I'm happy I didn't. Naughty Dog managed to completely shock me over and over again. I did not expect anything that they gave us, but I loved it. Now, this does not mean I like Abby or agree with her, and sure I would change some things around, but I love the story Naughty Dog has presented to us. I will talk about it in 5 sections: intro, Ellie, Abby, what I would have changed, and the ending. So if you want to skip to any of these, feel free to. When it comes to the intro, I think it's perfect, although I would change one thing, but we will get onto that soon. We begin right after the first game. Joel tells Tommy what he did. Tommy, just like us, and even Joel, knows what Joel did wasn't right in the grand scheme of things, but we all would have done the same. In such a cruel world as in The Last of Us, hope and love are the only things keeping people somewhat sane. Most people, no matter where you go, are monsters. Boston, Seattle, California, the middle of the country. It doesn't matter. Hate, revenge and violence is everywhere. Everyone is a villain for everyone. For the Fireflies that wanted to save the world by getting a cure, Joel is a villain. For us, he is not, due to the relationship we have with him. However, if we were to be a Firefly, let's say, or just a regular person who doesn't know Joel, and would have him take away the one bit of hope we have left for his own sake, we would hate him. But we aren't us. We are Joel and Ellie, and we agree with them. Well, Joel mainly. Anyway, we then get the scene with Joel playing and finally singing for Ellie, and that scene hits strong, and even more when you finish the game. The song Joel plays become a vital part of the narrative, and I love that. We then of course also play as Ellie, explore Jackson, get introduced to the characters that surround us, get used to the controls in the patrol, build our relationship with Dina, and all is great. However, at the same time, we play as Abby. I had no idea who she was, but knew something was wrong, especially when we figure out she is talking about Joel to Owen. She of course goes after the closest camp of people from Jackson, and on the way meets Joel and Tommy. Now, I do have to say, the fact Joel and Tommy help her is a bit odd, but to be fair, it is all in the rush of things. I do not agree with how they acted inside the lodge though. They were both way too trusting of the people. I suppose living in a community that helps others, lets traitors in, could have softened the mob a bit. This was one of the parts I personally disliked. And then of course, Abby shoots Joel in the leg, and I screamed. I immediately hated her. I still do. I hate what she did to Joel, but I understand why. And the scene hurts to watch. It makes me mad. Not at Naughty Dog, but at Abby. Especially when Ellie finally comes down to the basement. I was right there with her, on the floor, screaming, all hopeless. Seeing someone I love getting tortured and killed. I was, and still am, broken. However, do I disagree with Joel dying? No. I love him, don't get me wrong, but it makes sense. It pushes Ellie over the line, makes her go on this journey of revenge, and it makes me a bit more mad. It makes me want to find everyone in that room and kill them, as I see this only from one perspective. Why did they kill him? I have no idea. Truly do I care? No. But that is once again due to our relationship with Joel. I wouldn't change the intro, except of one part, which will be talked about later. Ellie is of course an amazing character. She is well written in both games, has lots of depth to her, although she may not show her feelings as much in the second game, unless you look at the journals. When I first played The Last of Us, I was a similar age to her, and I am as well now, so she somehow became a part of me, but also my daughter, when looking at it from Joel's perspective, but also a sister. Someone I truly care for. I want her to be happy. Did I think the journey of revenge will make her happy? No. Would it make anyone happy? Not really. It would only push and break you more. All the killing, all the difficulties, all the pain both physical and mental. It breaks Ellie, slowly, but it does. She wants this revenge. We all do, and this love for Joel she has, as he was the only person she had, blinded her. But it would blind everyone. It's a human thing to do. I enjoyed her journey though. Exploring Seattle was great. Being there with Dina, building more on their relationship, exploring the various areas. It is fantastic. Sure, Dina wasn't the most interesting character I have ever met, but she was fine. And I believe that Ellie has feelings for her, and I knew no matter what happens, Ellie won't turn around, and that's fine. But as much as I love Joel, as much as I hate Abby, I wanted her to turn around a bit, for her own sanity. Now, her relationship with characters. I love her and Dina together. At the start I was a bit wary, but seeing Ellie truly happy with someone and seeing her love someone was great. Added some hope to her as a character. Joel's death, sure, but she isn't alone anymore. The scene in the synagogue between the two is great. It shows two characters who live in the same world, have similar behaviour, but come from two completely different backgrounds, two completely different stories. It reminded me slightly of Joel and Ellie exploring places together. And even when she finds out Dina's pregnant with Jesse's baby, she still stays by her side. She obviously ponders about what will happen. Will Dina go off with Jesse once they are back in Jackson? It's a difficult time for her. Further, just trying to make her crumble underneath all this weight and killing all these people, like Nora. Sure, I want to do it just as much as Ellie, and of course we kill hundreds of people as her through the game. But this is different. It isn't just shooting someone in the head with a sniper across the field. It is being right there, above them, continuously hitting them until they die. No matter what, Ellie is human. This just makes her realize a bit that it is becoming too much for her. And this continues when she kills Owen and Mel. She gets a panic attack. This time it isn't for killing them. She realizes she killed someone who is pregnant and thinks about Dina and how that would hurt her if it were to happen the other way around. These moments of anger, hatred and loss are in contrast to the flashbacks we get. Ellie's birthday was one of the most beautiful moments we get. And when we go back to the theatre, saved by Jesse and Tommy, I personally felt sick. Seeing Ellie in such a state hurt me so much. I really just didn't want anything like this happening to her. And then Abby arrives, kills Jesse, one of the few people Ellie truly cares about, and almost, but we think she does, kills Tommy. And it only makes all of us and Ellie even more mad. I will continue what happens after this in the ending section. As I said a few times, I do not like Abby. I want her to die. I don't agree with people who like her, or her friends, although Lev and Owen are fine, but I do think this part of the game is important. When it comes to the true meaning that Naughty Dog are showing us. Perspective. Sure, the game is about revenge, but Ellie and Abby are going after someone who has killed their fathers. But you have to look at it from Abby's perspective. She is literally feeling the same way as Ellie. Her father was killed and she lost the closest person she has in this mad world. Sure, she has her friends and other members of the community, just as Ellie does, but it really isn't the same. Do I agree with her killing Joel? No. Not personally anyway. I know why she did it. I would do the same thing. It wasn't necessary to torture him, especially after he helped her. Also no, I hate what she did, as many of us do. Both those who love the game and those who hate the game. But Naughty Dog's idea of looking at the story from the other half is interesting. From day one, Neil Druckmann has been saying that this is part 2 of the story. We always thought it is a continuation, and of course it is, but it is also the same story from the other side. From the side of the people who are trying to save humanity. They might not be perfect people, but even we aren't. And nobody in that world is perfect either, especially in that world. Those who have survived are tough people, cruel people. Sure, they love, they care, but they're strong, and the only real hope they had has been taken away from them. Anyways, back to Abby. I hated playing as her Abby. However, I really enjoyed her sections. Day 2 with Lev climbing the skyscraper, learning about the scars and the sky bridges, seeing how they think of the world. It is all incredibly interesting. And everyone I talked to, even those who hate Abby, loved experiencing this side of the world. Could have been done as Ellie, sure. We could have met Yara and Lev as her, but the story would be different. Also, seeing how the WLF work, live, and everything they do was also amazing. My brother and I were actually amazed when we walked into our room as Abby. Sure, I thought the building was quite large, but I wasn't really paying attention to my surroundings. So when we looked out the window and saw that they are settled in a football stadium, it just shocked us. Honestly, what a brilliant idea. It could have been explored in media before, but I personally have never seen it done, and I absolutely loved it. It's something I never even thought of. The amount of space for storage, to live in, the kitchens, the space for crops, was honestly amazing. The other thing I also really enjoyed was the whole Scars Island section of the game. People say Lev is dumb for trying to go back to his mother, but you have to think about it really. Lev is young, between 12 and 15 possibly. He doesn't really think as an adult. He is still a child that loves his mother even if she causes him pain. But also, he was born into a world that is different, and especially his world. He lived with the scars his whole life. He lives in a different way. He lives in a different way, speaks in a different way, thinks in a different way. And that is shown throughout the sections with Abby. So of course, he wants to go back to his mother and get her back, bring her with them. He loves her as any child loves their mother. He doesn't see the world the way the player sees. He doesn't see that what he has done is wrong. I mean, he sees it, but he doesn't really see it. So when we meet him on the island, which by the way is such a cool idea, the fact that a part of Seattle has become an island due to flooding is great. In a normal world that would have been fixed or something, but in a world where everything is destroyed, there is nothing that can be done. Anyway, when we meet him and see that he's broken due to killing his mother, we feel for him. Not from Abby's perspective, but from our own. He is just a child, one that is stuck in this horrible world, one that does not want to be where he is right now. So before we go to the whole ending section, there's one thing I would change really. I would still let the player play as Abby, see where she is coming from, see her perspective. But I would not let the player know she's the one who killed Joel. She could have been in the room, but we never would have seen who actually killed Joel. This would make us wary of her, and Ellie could find out on her journey that it was in fact Abby who did it. I would have, let's say, the aquarium scene with Ellie be set after we play as Abby, and in the scene Ellie and the player would find out that it was in fact Abby who killed Joel. And this is where we would have the Abby hospital flashback, now showing us why she did it. Personally, I think this would actually make us like Abby, and then find out what she did and be in shock. Being conflict on whether we still like her or we don't, allowing the player to then decide towards the end, do we kill Abby or do we let her live? Either way, Ellie's life back at the farm is over. Everyone left, but she gets to decide. And even if she kills Abby, even if she gets her revenge, it will be for nothing, but will leave the player who wants to kill Abby satisfied in that aspect. Before we talk about the ending, even though we kind of just did, I just wanted to shout out the flashback scenes as Ellie, especially the museum scene. It was such an amazing left behind like moment, a moment where we are able to relax, enjoy the surroundings, learn and most importantly see more of the relationship between Joel and Ellie. The relationship that created our love for this franchise. It truly is one of the most beautiful moments of the game, and I wish we could get more of these, possibly in a DLC or something. But I just want to see more of Ellie and Joel together. They are the reason I love the first game so much after all. I don't know where to start really when it comes to the ending. I suppose I will start with the theatre. Jesse dying was way too quick and out of nowhere. I don't think he should have died. It served no purpose if I'm being honest. Sure, his parents visit Dina and Ellie later on, and the baby is named JJ, but it wasn't really vital though, was it? Also, I understand playing as Abby in the Ellie quote-unquote boss fight, but maybe similarly to how the ending could have had a choice, this could have too. As personally, I died as Abby many times on purpose. I did not want to kill or even hit Ellie. I just could not bring myself to do it. I hated Abby, and her reaction to Dina being pregnant and her still wanting to kill her by saying good only confirmed that even more. Sure, Lev managed to make her walk away, but that doesn't change stuff. The farmhouse section I loved, seeing Ellie happy, seeing her and Dina live a peaceful life, seeing little JJ. It made me happy. I was still mad at Abby, still wanted revenge, but I also wanted to stay. I felt exactly how Ellie felt in that scene, where Tommy comes over. Also, on Tommy quickly, people say that this is not how he would behave, but I think all the psychological trauma he has had recently, and through these 20 years of him living in post-outbreak day world, has caught up with him. It has changed him, soured him. He has gone a bit mad. Similar to Kenny in Telltale's The Walking Dead video game. Same as Ellie, as much as it would hurt, as much as I would be losing, I would also go to California after Abby, even though I think she already knows it will be for nothing. And the California level is honestly quite cool. It shows us that no matter where you go, people are the same, or even worse, than those who you have seen. It will continue everywhere. The hatred, the violence, people seeking revenge. This could have been a cutscene, but I think playing through this area was what made us realize this. I have already spoken about the beach. I think Ellie should have killed Abby, or at least given us a choice. I understand though why she has not. I understand in terms of the narrative, and in terms of Ellie as a character realizing. Sure, she has killed hundreds of people, but this won't change anything really, so she doesn't do it. Do I personally agree? No, I think Abby should have died, but that is what I think. We don't often agree with novels or films that we love, or even people we love. We need to understand that this is someone else, not us. And sure, it is a video game, and we are playing it, but it is Ellie's video game. It isn't us in the video game. It's her, and we are just experiencing her story. Now finally, the actual ending. I think the scene with Joel was vital, and I think where it is placed is also vital. I honestly cried so much during this scene. I want to cry thinking about it. It shows that Ellie was thinking of forgiving Joel for the worst thing he could have done to her. It shows what could have been, but it also shows that Ellie is able to one day forgive Abby, and possibly Dina will forgive Ellie one day. Some say that Ellie at the end goes to kill herself. I personally think she goes back to Jackson. Maybe not immediately, but after a while. And that in the long term, she will ask for forgiveness from Dina. She lost everything, even her ability to play guitar, which was the only thing left connecting her to Joel. She has lost everything for no reason. And I think she will try and get it back. But will we see this happen? Maybe, maybe not. The ending is an open one that could possibly be explored in the future. How? I do not know. But I wish one day we will get to see what happens.